talk about a Bill of Rights, if we're going to stay on that track,
Yep.
it's got to be the most fundamental, basic things that we all can kind of get around the table and nod our heads and say, yes, we need to be doing that. Everybody's in a different place on the evolution of how they create that candidate experience.
I mean, we talk about a candidate Bill of Rights, and I think I struggled with this because I don't know it's the same for everyone. And I think what we're talking about is transparency and authenticity of intention. Like, I think it's okay to get out front and say, listen, we get a lot of applicants and we can't get back to everybody.
I love the idea of actually putting it out on the website and posting that Bill of Rights, that communication that says we will. I think it helps to set an expectation, and quite honestly, it helps to hold us accountable a little more than maybe we would hold ourselves by default. But I think unfortunately, because of the state of where we're at as a community of employers around the world, we're not following up like we should. We are letting, they're not qualified, but they're going to sit in that bucket, in that tank, in that system for months.
If you commoditize this business, you're only leaving with a negative experience, which you're sharing with everybody. I just think that we have to pay more attention to those people that are not on the short list than maybe sometimes those people that are.
What part should you automate, and what part should really be that hand-delivered message? I mean,
What would you automate?
out of the gate, I would certainly automate application status, and actually frequently, so that they could opt in to get a notification every month or whatever interval they'd prefer that tells them the status of each of their applications.
So
every site
for you, it'd be really,
job they've applied
really great to ensure that status is there and turned on.
completely.
What the business was saying was, I want to see that the seats are filled tomorrow.
Sure.
And if I have to trade off something I'm going to do, or energy or effort or resource to fill that seat tomorrow, to make sure the people we don't hire feel better about themselves and about the process, most of the people that I've had giving me my marching orders were saying, fill the spot. And so when I'm making that decision, you have to, how do you do both? And I think that's where we get hung up, is it's like, if I'm going to have to give up on one, we're going to do our best over here, but I'm going to make sure the people we do hire have a good experience.
Right.
And I think that's the trade-off we're making.
But it's on us to find a way to treat candidates the way they want to be treated.
Agreed.
And so there has to be principles in
you have
place
to know
like
what that
choice.
is.
And some of the things that were mentioned, authenticity, accessibility, some of those things, some of those underlying principles to do that. I think that we oftentimes talk about tools or tactics and not those underlying principles. One more thing I will add is, I will push back also on this a little bit. I think realistic is very overrated. And I think going back to our initial conversations this morning, we can't use that as an excuse anymore. We have to start making big promises and taking big actions. Realistic is overrated, and we use it too often to get out of the way of doing things that match up with who we claim to be.
You're going for an interview, you take your time, you may take a day off from work, right? You go in for an interview, and then 2 weeks later you get a note. Thank you very much. We're not interested, in so many terms. I mean, to me, that doesn't get to the respect of what candidates deserve.
I would challenge any company to figure out for yourself, what do your principles actually mean in actions? And then hold recruiters, train recruiters, and hold them accountable for doing that. And if it's 100%, if it's 100% of every job when it's closed, that 100% of the candidates are informed that the job is now closed, then that rec can't be closed in your system until that happens.
If people matter, if we fundamentally believe people matter, we must put a line in the sand on candidate experience.